Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm making these 3D metal mosaic kits. To be precise, I'm making one of them. Now this is a brand I've never tried before, but in fact I have done countless of these by the brand Metal Earth before, so I was curious to see how this brand would fare. I actually got these from a friend of mine and I decided to keep one for a stream in the future. And the other one I decided to make on camera. Actually, the first thing I had to do was rip this open because the metal parts were stuck, absolutely stuck in the packaging. I think they got glued on one side while the packaging was being made or something, so it was really hard to get them out, but that's totally fine since I didn't plan on keeping the package anyways. As you can see, all the parts are flat, but they will be made into 3D shapes. If you follow the instructions, there's a lot of tabs. There's two different ways to actually connect things, and that is there's these tiny tabs. You either twist them in place to lock them, or you fold them over in certain pieces. So far these are definitely very comparable to the Metal Earth kits, in how they're made and how they go together. And all you do is basically just cut them out, clip them off. I decided to use my flush cutters here because that's the easiest way. And then bend fold them and put them in the slots they're designed to go into, and then either, as I said, twist or fold the little tabs. And in this case for the wheels, for example, it was a twisting motion. So I always decide to go in one direction for a lot of the tabs, except for certain pieces that are more rounded. Then I like to kind of mirror the directions per tab, just so it's a bit stronger with the connections. Now the reason why I usually choose to go in one direction with most simpler pieces is because I had it before, and I actually had it with this project too, that I put pieces, or put pieces the other way around than they should have been. And if you twist all the tabs the same direction, you know which direction it goes, you can carefully still untwist them if you didn't over twist them, and they should not break off, and you will be able to disassemble it. Actually, the part I'm assembling here is the one I put on the wrong way around later onto the base plate, and it's the one I had to get off. Sadly, one of the pins did indeed break, but that is because I twisted it in the wrong direction first. Even though I twisted all of them in the same direction, for some reason it didn't come loose. I tried the other direction and it broke up, but it's totally fine because all the rest of the two other pins that were left, they totally were enough to hold this piece. It was just a little bit more loose, but nothing that would fall off or break off that easily. So in the end, an easy fix because I knew how to, but you need to be very careful when trying to fix these, because you can kind of glue these pieces if you have to, but it's not that easy to get them to fit perfectly. Also, I really need to apologize for my camera and that it's really hard to see. My camera really didn't like the reflectiveness of this, so any focus I tried would just immediately focus on something else. So most of the time the video will be a bit blurry, besides some of the parts where I kind of got it to work. But I still wanted to share this video with you guys to give a review of this kit. That's why I decided to keep all this in and not put it away into my never to be seen again video clips. A lot of these pieces you actually need to bend and round over, and I found the easiest way, as always, was using anything round, mainly pencils and pens that would have the right diameter, and it really helps to get an even bend without creases, because these metal sheets are very thin and actually also very sharp edged, so while you're working with them, be careful to not cut yourself. My fingers in the end definitely did have some cuts, but it wasn't as bad as some of the other sets I made. I made one of the dragons from Game of Thrones before, from the Metal Earth kit, and that guy had spikes all along his back, and the amount of times I stabbed or cut myself on them, is ridiculous because they're just so sharp. But it was really worth it. That dragon was definitely turning out really beautiful. But for this kit, since like most of the pieces are kind of flat, it was totally fine except for like some minor finger injuries. But if you're not too sure, you can always wear like some kind of glove to protect yourself. And actually using fabric gloves may also help with the fingerprints, because these pieces pick them up way too easy. The one thing that I immediately noticed about this kit was how well made the instructions actually are. You know, you only have symbols that show you which side is the front and back that you need to bend it towards, and how to bend or twist the tabs. And that's actually all you need. You just need clear pictures on how to bend all the pieces into the right shape and how to connect them. And this instruction definitely was really good at that, so that made me really happy. Now, important thing is that you really follow it step by step. Sometimes you feel like you may want to skip a step, assemble certain things like before others. I promise that in most cases these things go terribly wrong. Like in certain kits you can kind of do that, but in other kits that means you completely like don't have space to twist the tab or anything. Now, there were actually some parts in this kit that were rounded where it was really hard to get the tab anyways, but in this case I followed the steps. It was just difficult because there were small pieces. Now for these, like if there's like tabs in a narrow tube or something, what I can just say, like in most cases they will be twist tabs, but you cannot really twist them. I would suggest to just fold them over, like use a really sturdy piece of metal tweezers or something that is like small enough to fit in the gap, and just press them over. There was like one piece that was like mirrored on both sides where I had that problem close to the axles of the engine, but else this actually was pretty easy to put together. Like all the pieces were very accessible. Some of them were a bit more tricky to like put together, like the chimney stacks and stuff. Like this cone shape was super hard to connect with the like slots they've given, but once I got it, it was super sturdy, and like I had no problem with like fitting the pieces together. Sometimes when you bend them, there may be an issue that the bends aren't like correct enough to like fit the slot, so you have to like bend them more and more. In this case I didn't have that issue too much. Now, a pro tip for like some of the like larger pieces that have larger bends, I always like to bend them a little smaller, because you can always easier push them outwards than round them over again once you've put the pieces in. And always, if you know the base plate and like where the connection points are for these pieces, always try to at least hold it over to see if the tabs will actually fit. Actually, the only piece I kind of struggled was the front part, where you have access to the boiler and stuff, because like this like half rounded piece was really hard to get the roundness right. It didn't really have connection pieces. You just, basically fastened it by putting it on the back plate. But once I got it, there was not much of a problem anymore. It was just a bit of back and forth trying to get the right shape, folding it a bit more, and then in the end it worked out pretty well. Some of the pieces, of course, are very delicate. As I said, these metal pieces are very, very thin. But in the end, it worked out pretty well. You can see like some of the railings that are on the boiler and stuff. They really are thin and they like to flex, but if you're careful and you like just display it, it's fine. These pieces are not really for playing with them. They're more for display purposes, honestly. Like, I guess there's some pieces that would fit the bill, like there's some simpler cars and stuff that you can certainly play with, but the like danger of getting it caught on anything like fabric wise or something is way too high, and to like rip off pieces or bend them so permanently that if you would bend them back they would be ruined. So I'd suggest display them. Now, in my case, what I always did is I put them in these like deeper picture frames that are kind of like shadow boxes, and that worked out really well for me. But of course, if you have like a smaller shelf, that also will work. Now, because I made so many of these kits, I didn't really have any space to like put them anymore. So in the end, mine are currently all in cardboard boxes in the attic. But eventually, when I have more space, I want to get them out again, put them into displays again, and just have them hang somewhere. I have a lot of different ones, like buildings, animals, cars, ships, all of that kind of thing that Metal Earth brought out, because they were just readily available here in the stores. And you know, every time I saw a kit like that I wanted to have, I could just easily grab it, and they weren't that expensive. Plus you had like hours of building them. I think in total this took me like 4 hours to make, which isn't too bad, and that was with breaks, considering that I was working on this pretty late at night and I was pretty tired most of the time. I think if I didn't have any issues with like putting parts the wrong way, it would have been definitely way quicker. But overall it was a lot of fun, and as you can see, this engine says Walt E. Disney, so I guess this is supposed to be the Disney train. And I dare say this definitely turned out super beautiful. I love all the details of the like carving they put into it, and as I said, the pieces fit really well together. There's hardly any gaps, and it just looks like a good kit. And also building it, I can definitely say it's a good kit. Definitely a little bit more advanced, this one, than some of the other kits I've done, so it's not the easiest one to start out with, but I would recommend if you have experience with these kinds of metal 3D puzzle kits. Now, since I actually made the previous voiceover, I have so far actually worked on the car, and I cannot recommend that kit. Sadly, contrary to how great the train kit was, the car kit sucked. And it's not just me. I had a friend who also got this present from the same friend, and they also had issues with it. The quality of the cuts and stuff is very inconsistent. The engraving is great. The model itself like fits together pretty well, but like certain grooves are deeper than they should be or not deep enough, which makes folding it terribly hard in some cases, or so easy that things snap off. Plus the instructions are like missing half the steps on which way to bend certain things and which things to put together. So yeah, the train set great, the car kit not so much. Anyways, I hope you could still enjoy the video besides it mostly being blurry, and let me know in the comments down below, did you ever do any of these 3D kits? Or do you want to pick one up eventually? And if so, which motifs did you do or did you want to pick up? And as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!